Welcome back to another episode of Ask Forza. It has been quite the hiatus. My apologies. We've been working on a very big project, which we're getting ready to roll out. It's prevented me from getting in front of the camera with my lovely wife. Please don't worry. She has not divorced me. I know most of you men probably wish she would, so she'd be on the market, but she is not. I still have her as for now. But anyways, wanting to jump into some topics here. I had an interesting question come in the other day, and it was talking about what types of horses should you claim based on conditions. And this, there's several different ways I could go here. I know I've said before in videos, I don't like claiming maidens. Some maidens stay maidens. Some maidens turn out to be phenomenal claims. And I'm kicking myself. There was one filly last year in for 50 at Churchill, maiden claiming, and since I'm adverse to claiming maidens, I did not claim her in the maiden 50 that she won, and she went on to win the Black-Eyed Susan. So yes, for all you naysayers out there are great horses in maiden claiming races. As we all keep growing in this sport, I'm becoming more open-minded to that idea. But usually it depends, the question, and I want to answer it this way. It depends on what your end goals are. So some people, I've got clients who want to claim to have good racehorses with good longevity and earning capacity. I've got individuals who want to claim fillies to potentially get them stakes placed to increase their value as broodmares and become broodmares. And so it just depends really what you're trying to accomplish. Typically, the condition that I like to have most with horses is the non-winners of 2 condition. If they've run for a tag, it opens up a lot of different conditions, and hats off to Churchill Downs for a new condition that they've opened up, which is a starter allowance 30,000 for horses who have not won 3 races. It gives another spot, even though the starter 50 is not terribly difficult. It gives another spot for horses who might have run for less in a non-winners of 2, and it opens up that condition. So the nice thing is when you've had horses that have run for a tag, either maiden claiming or broke their maiden and have been running for tags, that non-winners of 2 condition is hugely valuable, because not only do you have that non-winners of 2 condition, you can go to the non-winners of 3 condition. If that horse keeps moving through those conditions, you can use then the starter allowance. If that horse continuously improves, move into the allowance, move hopefully through the 2X, and as you go. And a fine example of that is a horse called Saratoga Flash, which we claimed last year for Daily Double Racing. Saratoga Flash was in a non-winners of 3 race at Saratoga. He won that day, so he blew that condition, but luckily he'd run for 35,000 when he won that day, and he has since been able to go through the starter 50. He won that race. He won the allowance race. He ran second by a head in the 2X allowance, and then he ran second by a nose in a stake. So those are typically horses that I like to look for, is horses that have shown good form in the past that still have that non-winners of 2, non-winners of 3 condition. I like to look for horses specifically that I think can win allowance races. So I want horses usually between the $30,000 to $50,000 price tag mark, to where I think I can get them for that price. And then those horses, as they progress, as we hope, it doesn't always work out that way, but as we hope that they can then win that starter 50 and add that purse into, their earnings, and then move into the allowance company and knock out some of those purses, and hopefully they turn out to become stakes horses. But those are the types of horses I like to look for specifically. As I said, you can go a ton of different ways in the claiming game. I had a guy once when I trained who just wanted to claim and flip, which is a whole other model. So we claimed a filly. You can look back long ago, 7-year-old mare named Here's Zelicious. I remember I called the guy and said, look, I've got a filly for you for 20,000 for our first claim. I figured she'd win. She was a win machine at that level. And so we dropped, she won. We ran her back, I believe 4 weeks later. She won and got claimed, and that's a quick way to earn money. So it really depends on what your ultimate goal is with those horses. If you want to have a horse you can hang on to long-term and move through the ranks, or if you want a quick hit and get something, get a win, get them claimed again. So I know I didn't fully answer your question, and if you want to clarify your question a little bit more, I'm happy to answer more fully, but you really have to, when you claim horses, and I think this is where a lot of people might fall a little bit short, is determine the goal that you want to end up at. And then you follow that path to get to where you want to go. So sometimes if you're claiming a horse that has high earning potential because you feel that they can move up an allowance company and potentially in a stakes company, that's a longer term cycle in terms of earning money and having cash flow with those horses, because you have to give them the time to improve, which typically I always feel to get a horse to improve from its previous operation, you need at least 6 weeks. And then you're gradually trying to rebuild and redevelop that horse so they keep moving forward. And so you have to understand that process, but your focus needs to be on the long term of where you want to be at the end of the day. Or if you just want quick wins, well, then it's a different angle. You look for horses that you don't have to do a whole lot with. You're just claiming them for what they are. You're probably running them back for what they are and trying to get another win. And if somebody claims them, best of luck to those connections with that horse. And if you're lucky enough that they don't claim them, sometimes you get 2 shots at it. So you really need to know and determine your plan, and that's crucial, because anything in this sport is to go in with a plan. And even when things get difficult, you stick to that plan, because when you start deviating from those plans, that's when things kind of start unraveling a little bit and you can be in a different position than you hoped you would have been. So determine the plan and then find the right horse, and be patient enough to find the right horse that fits that plan. So I hope I answered that question. I apologize that you're having to just look at my face. I know most of you prefer my wife. She will be on for subsequent videos, but just want to answer that question on claiming. So thanks so much for watching.